Conversations in English about withholding tax in Colombia. Boss, what changes does Decree 0572 of 2025 introduce regarding source tax withholding? Accountant, the decree adjusts the rates and minimum thresholds for withholding and self-withholding and groups economic activities according to CIIU, improving tax control and equity. Boss, when do the new rates take effect? Accountant, as of June 1st, 2025, the previous rules apply until May 31st, 2025. Boss, is electronic invoicing still mandatory under this decree? Accountant, yes, electronic invoicing remains mandatory for established taxpayers in Colombia. Boss, what happens if my economic activity does not have a collection gap? Accountant, if there is no gap between the tax due and self-withholding, the rates are not changed. Otherwise, you can request a refund or credit. Boss, how is the self-withholding rate determined for my company? Accountant, according to the main economic activity identified by the CIIU code, the corresponding rate from the decrees list is applied. Boss, what happens with payments for services below 2 UVT? Accountant, no withholding is applied if the individual payment for services is less than 2 UVT. Boss, what about the purchase of agricultural or livestock products without industrial processing? Accountant, withholding is optional if the value does not exceed 70 UVT. If it does, the rate is 1.5%. Boss, what rate applies to the purchase of gold by international trading companies? Accountant, the rate is 2.5% on the total value of the payment or credit. Boss, what about ecclesiastical emoluments? Accountant, they are not subject to withholding if the individual value is less than 10 UVT. Boss, how are economic activities grouped for self-withholding? Accountant, they are grouped according to the CIIU code, with specific rates for each activity. Boss, does the decree change who is a withholding agent? Accountant, no, it only changes how and how much must be withheld according to the economic activity. Boss, what are the obligations of self-withholders under the new decree? Accountant, they must comply with the obligations of the tax statute and the established sanctioning regime. Boss, how does the decree affect mandate contracts? Accountant, the agent does not apply self-withholding at the time of payment or credit. Boss, what about collective investment funds? Accountant, the managing entities must certify the taxable profit and contribution components, and beneficiaries apply self-withholding upon receipt of the certificate. Boss, what rate applies to publishing companies? Accountant, the self-withholding rate is 0.55% for publishing companies that edit books, magazines, or scientific or cultural collectibles. Boss, what rate applies to gambling companies? Accountant, the self-withholding rate for gambling companies is 3.5% according to the decrees list. Boss, how are withholdings and self-withholdings reported? Accountant, they are reported monthly to DIEN, following the established schedule. Boss, what happens if self-withholding is not applied according to the new decree? Accountant, sanctions for non-compliance apply, according to the tax statute. Boss, does the decree affect freight transport services? Accountant, yes. The The decree establishes specific rates according to the type of transport and economic activity. Boss, how is the minimum threshold for not withholding in general purchases determined? Accountant, the decree establishes specific minimum thresholds according to the concept and economic activity, which may vary in UVT. Boss, what happens if the payment for services exceeds the minimum threshold? Accountant, the corresponding withholding is applied according to the rate and economic activity. Boss, does the decree modify withholding for rental of real estate? Accountant, yes, it establishes specific rates and minimum thresholds according to the type of lease and economic activity. Boss, what about payments to foreign suppliers? Accountant, source tax withholding rules apply according to the type of payment and economic activity, but there are no specific changes for foreign suppliers in this decree. Boss, how does the decree affect electronic invoicing? Accountant, it does not modify the obligation of electronic invoicing. It only adjusts withholding and self-withholding. Boss, what if my company changes its economic activity? Accountant, you must update your CIIU classification and apply the corresponding rate according to the new decree. Boss, does the decree affect withholding for purchases with debit or credit cards? Accountant, yes, there are specific rates and minimum thresholds for card purchases, according to the type of purchase and economic activity. Boss, what should I do if I have doubts about the application of the decree? Accountant, consult with a tax advisor or review the Dien Guide to ensure proper compliance with the decree.